Hey, what's up? So today what I'm going to be talking about is the Flipper Zero CLI and how you can connect it to your Windows desktop to perform different CLI commands. So we're going to look into how we can connect Flipper with PuTTY and then perform a few of these actions like the crypto command. Also look into different various commands that exist for the Flipper CLI once you connect to it via PuTTY. And I'm also going to demonstrate some of the bad USB actions or keyboard actions. And we are also going to look at how you can use Flipper Zero as a UTF to log into different applications like GitHub. All right, see you there. All right, so the first thing you want to do is make sure your Flipper is connected to your PC. And a good way to detect that is through your QFlipper. You don't even have to have QFlipper on, but once you connect your Flipper to your PC, it should be able to detect it. And from there, you should be good to go. Now that we know our Flipper is successfully connected, let's go ahead and exit out of QFlipper. And what you want to do is make sure you install PuTTY on your computer to have it ready to go. Once you have PuTTY installed, let's go ahead and open it up. That should look like an app like this. And we want to be able to connect to our Flipper Zero. And we can detect if our Flipper Zero is connected through the device manager on Windows. So if you search device manager, we want to go to device manager and then we want to open up the ports. And the Flipper Zero is going to be one of these USB serial devices. And if I disconnect and reconnect the Flipper Zero, we should see which device it is. So if I refresh this, there we go. We got a USB serial device, COM8. So COM8, you want to keep that in mind. And then you want to go to PuTTY and you want to edit these configurations so you can connect to your Flipper. So the serial line I set to COM8, which matches this. And then the connection type, we want to select serial. And the speed, I set it to this number here, 230,400. All right. When you have those configured, you can save those configurations like I did, and you can also go ahead and open it up. When you open it up, you might get a screen like this depending on your firmware. Yeah, since I'm running the Extreme CLI and firmware, we will get this screen. On default Flipper, you will see a different screen here. Once you get the Flipper running on PuTTY, you can perform a few actions on it. And what I would recommend is going into the documents of Flipper, which I will add in the description of this video. And here we can go into development and go into command line interface. Inside this command line interface, if we scroll down here, we can see the available commands. And here are some of the commands that I will be performing. The first one that we can do to see what is available is the help command. Useful. So I can try and run the free command to display the amount of free heap memory available on the device. We can also run information like, let's try log. Okay, so in the log, if I try and run anything on my Flipper, it should be able to capture these actions. Say I try and turn on my TV here. Yeah, so we can see some actions were logged on our console, which is pretty cool. few other things we can do is power off the system, reboot it. We can also update the system, and there's a lot of other actions. Another interesting one is the storage one, and if you want to learn about it, I would definitely view what's available here. But this allows you to look at what is inside of the SD card connected to your Flipper Zero, and I will post a link for that in the chat. So one command that I found to be interesting within the Flipper Zero is the crypto command. And that you can use to encrypt and decrypt specific texts. You could potentially use the Flipper Zero as like a place to hold secret information, potentially passwords. So if we look into this, learn more, we can see there's different arguments we can run with this crypto command. In order to encrypt text, what we need is the crypto and then the run command for encrypt, and then we also need the arguments for the key slot and the hex value. If we look down here, the key slot is a secure enclave slot number that contains a cryptographic key. By default, the slots run through 1 through 11, so we have to select 1 or 11, or 1 through 11 for these slots. And then the hex value has to be a 16-byte initialization vector. So it has to be a 16-byte length key. All right, so if we want to run the crypto command, what we can do is this. For example, crypto encrypt, and then we want to select the slot. So I'm going to select slot 2, and then the initialization vector. I'm going to create a random initialization vector and press enter here. Now it's going to request the text to enter, and I'm going to say, hi, le Flipper Zero, how are you? Question mark. Once we enter that, we need to press Control C to finish, and then it's going to give us the hex output. We want to save that hex output for later, and we can actually use that hex output to decrypt the information. All right, so I'm going to run the Flipper decrypt here with the crypto. Crypto decrypt 2, and then we're going to use that same initialization vector and press enter. We're going to enter the hex data that we received from the encrypted data. Submit. And then we want to press Control C. And there we can see, hi, Flipper Zero, how are you? So it was able to decrypt that information successfully. All right, so now I'm going to show how to use the bad keyboard or the bad USB feature on the Flipper. If you look on inside of the USB or through the CLI, you can get the rubber ducky dock for the demo window, and we can see what type of actions it's running. So if we want to test that out, what we can do is just make sure your Flipper is disconnected from the Q Flipper. So let's close this Q Flipper, and then I'm going to run the Windows demo. See if it works. So yeah, now it's going and running the output for the Windows bad keyboard. Now this is pretty cool. You can actually use it to start up some of your own stuff. I would recommend maybe only using it when you're starting up your computer. If you use it in the middle of something, you might have some issues. So I made a simple one to start Docker desktop. And so if I, all right, so I'll demo one where I will start up my Docker desktop. Oh, try that again. This. All right, and as you can see at that bottom start screen, we can see that Docker popped up. Let me try and pull it over here. So yeah, we can see that it started up my Docker. Let's see if I can get it to start up a video game. So I'll try and make it run one of our video games. And there we go. So this is all being performed from the Q Flipper, which is pretty cool. So you can use it to auto start some of your applications if you want. Another cool feature that I wanted to show you is the UTF, which allows you to sign in to different applications like GitHub with your QFlipper. So you can use the QFlipper as an authorization token in a sense. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, so we're going to use this UTF function. And if you want to get more documentation on it, you can go to the Flipper docs and go to UTF. Here I'll walk you through how to set up the two-step verification for different accounts like your GitHub. And I can show you an example of the GitHub login. So, all right, so I'm on the GitHub login page, and I'm gonna go ahead and try and log in with this MFA process with the UTF. So I'll go ahead and log in. And when I log in, it asks for a second factor. So I'm going to use the security key, select this security key here. And what I'm going to do is turn on this camera here so we can see what's going on. And what we want to do is connect the Q Flipper, and then we want to go to the UTF option. And when I select this next button here, it'll say be sure to connect. So I'm going to go ahead and connect right here. It's going to say press OK to authenticate. We'll go ahead and press OK. And it will sign us into GitHub. So that's actually kind of cool. Another way to authenticate yourself. You just got to make sure you don't lose your Flipper or have a backup authentication method. All right, so anyways, that was kind of a quick overview of some of the cool things you can do with the Flipper on your PC with the Flipper CLI, and also the stuff like the bad keyboard and the UTF. Some of the things I definitely like about the Flipper is you basically can just use it as your universal remote. So you can, one thing that I really like about it is that we have a lot of TV remotes in my house. So I just plugged them all into here. And now if I don't have to worry about losing a remote, I got this thing kind of as a backup. And I also connected it to my garage door. I tried to intercept the signal through the sub-gigahertz process, but that didn't work. But you can set this up so it can work with your garage door. You just have to pair it with your garage door. There's actually a lot of other cool things you can do, like some web stuff with the Marauder, and might potentially do some little stuff on that. if you're interested. Anyways, if you like these videos, please like and subscribe.